Welcome everyone to another edition of excuse me. Welcome everyone to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host Rick Head, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. But before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out to our good friends, Mr. and Mrs. A over at BC Games and More. You can find them in the Facebook and group section. And what BC Games and More does, they play video games, old retro games. They do trivia, and they give out gifts, and they do a lot more. Not to mention, they're just a cool bunch of people to hang out with. Again, Mr. and Mrs. A over at BC Games and More. Without further ado, here's the hardcore crew. First, from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's shaking?
Not too much. It's actually starting to cool down a little bit over here, so that's really good because it's been hotter than a bitch.
So it's like, what, like 95 now?
89.
89, well, all right. And then, of course, we have the Vicious Vixen, Zoe Nightshade. Zoe, how we doing, hon?
Doing great, and I finally got booked along with my partner, Dark Suede. Come watch us with TSW over in Kiwi. It's in Corbin, Kentucky on September the 3rd.
All right, I was going to say July the 3rd. You're a bit late. Anyway, and finally...
a bit early.
Yeah.
We had the Lord Scarlet himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's up?
Nothing much. It's starting to cool down here. Beautiful weather. We have Terry 3G in the HWR chat room here on YouTube. So make sure you guys come to YouTube. Just do look for Hardcore Wrestling Rants, and you guys can be part of the conversation. I shared this around, Rick. Let's see how it goes.
Well, you know what? I want to see how something goes, guys. I'm going to tell you. We've always posted a lot of funny little botches, especially with indie botches. And the one I posted, the latest one I posted, was these two women who probably clearly over 255 pounds. And it looked like the woman was trying to give her opponent a power bomb between two chairs. But apparently she seemed that power bombing on top of the chair was a better idea. Now, Joe, watching this video over and over again, yes, we're going to get rid of this soon. She wasn't even on the target. What was she trying to do, aside from cripple her?
Well, you know what the problem was? She was way off. Hold up. I hear Rick Lance. Okay, Terry says we're good. He can hear it. By looking at that video, she just missed. She couldn't see where the chairs were. Now, the dangerous thing about what she just did, okay, and it's not, and again, it's the girls are not like super overweight or anything. This was just a botch because the one doing the move didn't see where it was going. So once everybody looks at the move and finishes cringing, you will see that she hit the actual back of the chair, the top where you put your back on. That's hard. That can actually break your neck. It depends on the power that she has. So really, this should have been something that the girl should have realized. Where is the thing? Turn the chair the proper way. Move a couple of feet. But from what I see in my expertise, the girl could not hold the other girl up for that to get into position.
Yeah.
So she just says, I'm just going to drop her. And let's pray that she can walk out of here under her own power.
Well, I noticed they cut the feed right after that. They're like, oh shit, we don't need any more legal issues. Lance, real quick, your thoughts about this horrific spot.
Okay, first off, they look like the female bad breed. And honestly, the woman that took the power bomb is going to need a chiropractor. And long story short, I've seen this spot done many times, but what she did, you aimed for the seat, not the back of the fucking chair.
Yeah, that's a draw situation, possibly.
The damn chiropractor.
Yeah.
Well, again, if you look at it, she couldn't hold the girl up.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
in bad position.
Yeah.
She's in bad position.
Absolutely. Zoe, over to you. You've worked in wrestling. You're in the industry. How can some, have you ever seen anything like this, in any of your shows that you've worked?
No, I have not, and the reason being is because practice, 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 practice. People will show up that work the shows. If they have a spot like that, they show up early so they can go through the match and also practice that spot to make sure that they get it right and they get it right safe.
And that's exactly the key word, safety. You know, and even like ring awareness. I mean, I've never wrestled a day in my life, never been inside a wrestling ring, even at a WrestleCon, let alone. But I know that you have to have some form of ring awareness, and it's just unbelievable. I'm like, I couldn't get over it as to how crazy it looked.
Boss,
So
I'm reminded of a quote from Dusty Rhodes. Don't do shit you don't know how to do.
yeah, pretty much. Excellent words from an excellent legend. So, moving on, I want to start off with Kenny Omega, who made his return. We all knew who it was. People were like, but AEW was trying to make that to have a shocking return. But when he came back, guys, he didn't look good. He had what's called a pressure shirt, and it looks like some kind of a strap for extra padding for his left shoulder. Not to mention, Kenny Omega was not running at full speed. It looked like towards the end of the match when he wanted to give the one wing to Angel, try to say that 5 times fast, and barely got the guy up. Joe, what's your thoughts about Kenny Omega's return?
You know, I think they just wanted to have something big to do, and this was building up for so much. They had to come up with something. So obviously, it was necessary for them. Kenny, probably feeling that itch to come back early, wanted to do this. So right now, the product is not suffering on TV, okay, but it is WWE starting to catch up again, because now it's like they're actually doing as you could see, their direction has changed. So AEW's trying to keep their program ratings up. So that's the reason you saw Kenny Omega. Should he returned? No, you could see even he was very winded from the injuries. He still has these injuries. I would have just liked to see him maybe in the corner, maybe do a guest appearance, high on the ramp. I'll be back, and somebody else takes over. Takes that spot. I don't think he was ready, and while he did, it was great. He wasn't fully ready. Let me just put it that way, to be in the ring at that high level of capacity, and it showed.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoe, again, your thoughts on Kenny Omega?
There was a lot of ring rust in it. I noticed through part of the match he was even favoring his knee at one point. There needed to be a lot more training, a lot more physical therapy. Kenny needed to come back whenever he was at least, closer to 100%.
Yeah, I agree. And Lance, I'm going to spin this one on you. Do you think he needed to come back for the tournament? I mean, there's no why couldn't he have not came back with the Young Bucks and fought for the titles after after championship was determined?
Well, I think it's just WWE's getting a little too close to comfort for AEW. But something I heard about his bad performance, I was like, oh, he was doing that intentionally. He was part of his performance that he did this work like this. Bullshit.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would have to call bullshit on that one. I mean, I'm sure he was struggling. Even he did a post promo, and you could tell he was definitely winded. He was just like, I don't remember the full capacity of the promo, but in short, he was just saying it was great to be back. But he also know that he's burning, still has a lot of physical therapy to go through, and but I guess now he's trying to do physical therapy and wrestle. So hopefully Omega, or the majority of his injuries, Omega's injuries, will have gotten past him. Maybe he can work through them. Who knows? We'll just say, I guess time will tell.
Yeah.
We have an update on MJF. since June 1st when MJF dropped that huge pipe bomb, and where he pretty much called Tony Khan a fucking mark and begged him to fire, screamed for him 15 times over and over until the mic was cut, and he just went silent. AEW didn't really make an official statement. They just took all his merch off, and then MJF was gone. No, nothing on social media, even to this day, nothing on social media. Now Wrestling Inc. is reporting that MJF could be returning to AEW within the next couple of weeks. Some of more are speculating sooner than later. Some have even speculated that he could be a return tonight. Joe, what's your thoughts on these rumors?
You know, I think it's about time. Like I said, I think this whole thing was MJF wanted that sounds like Taz. Not Taz the wrestler, but the Tasmaniac from the cartoons. I think he wanted some time off. And they came up with this whole thing that he was frustrated. Maybe he was probably really frustrated. And maybe him and Tony Khan went to the side and said, hey, let's do this. This makes things look real. And what if he comes back and all of a sudden here he is beating, and what if it's a triple threat? He's going to beat two former WWE guys who he despises out of the picture and take their world titles. I think that's a great angle. If this is not an angle, then he shouldn't have been brought back. But I think, again, if I'm looking more of this as a work, and guys, this is the greatest work since the pipe bomb, since the Attitude Era. If he comes back and follows through and actually beats these guys and says, look, I'm beating these former WWE talent. I want the money. I want the prestige. I want the belt. I want this, that. That's just going to elevate him even higher, and he's going to make more money, because I think he was making very good, decent money on what he was doing prior. So he didn't have a bad win-loss record. He had more wins than actually losses. So this is a great thing to see. I hope he does come back.
You know, and I noticed in all of his pipe bombs, he always gives credit to the AEW originals, like Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, Danny, and Darby Allin, excuse me. So, but when it comes to ex-WWE wrestlers, as he calls them, he really obviously has nothing but disdain for them. And now, another reason why this speculating is that MJF is being brought back is because that now that Vince McMahon's out of the picture of the WWE, their ratings are starting to climb, and AEW's ratings are starting to take a hit. AEW is now will be in negotiations for another deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, which means that AEW has to be at its very best. Zoe, what's your thoughts?
I mean, AEW, with Vince McMahon being out of WWE right now, people are tuning in to see the changes in WWE. So, yeah, that does put AEW and WWE in competition for the ratings right now. I do think MJF does need to come back. I like him, but I don't like him. I'm supposed to not like him. That's his character. I'm supposed to hate him. But I think it would be pretty cool for him to come back. And yes, take out my man John Moxley, I hate to say it, and CM Punk, because then that's going to play off of the pipe bomb that he dropped with his disdain for the ex-WWE people. So, I don't know. I'm anxious to see how this goes down.
Yeah, actually, yeah, absolutely. Lance, final thoughts.
Well, if this is a work, which is it's looking more and more like one, very well done. And honestly, I personally think we're going to see MJF in a matter of hours.
You know what? And I think, especially when it comes to AEW fans, especially and MJF fans, we are all hoping that does happen. So we're gonna have to tune in tonight to Dynamite and find out. And well, speaking of tonight, Dynamite, the undisputed championship between Jon Moxley and CM Punk will happen tonight. We've been talking about it pretty much through the rumor with MJF, and many fans are expecting this. Well, this was originally booked to be at All Out, And then all of a sudden, last week, they announced it for tonight, which, I guess that pretty much says, that something certainly is going to happen as far as, because I don't think they're going to leave All Out with no title. So I've heard different rumors, different kind of predictions, expectations. Some have said that Hangman Page could possibly be a factor who can come in, and we'll see a trios match at All Out. MJF, again, is another one who could be a factor, will be at All Out for the AEW Championship. Whether it be a trios or a one-on-one, it's not really clear. Joe, your prediction on this one?
If on this world title match, you mean? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to call it as it is. Double disqualification. And I'm going to see MJF make the startling return. And what's going to happen is you're going to see Dumb look like dumbfounded, like he's back. And that's going to cause them to kind of stop what they're doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if MJF comes in the ring to drop a bomb on both of them, grabs the mic, ends up grabbing the belt, hits both of them, and walks out. That's how you set up for a pay-per-view. So I think this is just going to be no contest. MJF is going to play a big factor in this, and you're going to see the setup for the pay-per-view.
All right. Zoe, let me ask you this. Now, obviously, MJF is a bigger name, but everybody seems to forget about Hangman Page, especially last week where CM Punk went off script and he called out Hangman Page, saying basically he was like coward shit. And pretty much, from what rumors said, is that he was Hangman was fuming in the back. He was not happy about that situation. So.
Well, I would say that he probably was not happy about the situation. Now, I am part of the disqualification crew. I believe that this is going to end in a disqualification, and either Hangman Page or MJF is going to interfere, or hey, even both of them could interfere. You never know.
And you know what? You stirred the pot even more. So, Lynch, what do you think about that possible four-way match?
Actually, I didn't think about that. They did say something big for All Out. That's big.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we have another Wednesday to get there, so who knows? I mean, if MJF's back, they may have an issue with MJF and Hangman want to have like a number one qualification match. So on the next Wednesday, who knows? With AEW, you're not really sure what curveball they're gonna throw you. So
and isn't that a good thing?
It is.
Because we're not sitting there already. Like, folks, if you've been paying attention for our product here, our shows, spot on. We usually hit our pretty much our picks, our predictions right on it. So honestly, I think this is good that they finally can keep. It's somebody in professional wrestling in a company can keep a secret. Even though most things are blabbed out, but when it comes to actually knowing what's going to happen, we don't know, and that's a tribute to AEW. WWE,
well, hopefully now with the new chain of command, that will start to change. But yeah, for the most part, when you see a WWE pay-per-view, we pick off who's going to win, and 95% of our picks are right because it's just stating the obvious. And that's just unfortunately something that WWE needs to change. Hopefully, with all the other changes, that will be another one. Moving on. Apparently, on a recent edition, Tony Khan was on a recent edition of Busted Open Radio, where he claimed that some people have reminded him of Paul Heyman. Said so when he was running in ECW. Khan did not say who made the references, However, when people inside the WWE heard about this whole rumor, they got a good chuckle. Taz took to Twitter where he confirmed that it was him who made the reference. And this is what he had to say. I worked very closely with both men, Paul Heyman and Tony Khan, from a passion perspective, creative, work ethic, and connection directly with the audiences. They're very similar, I promise. Now, Joe, I'm going to tell you, that sounded like a very foolish comment from both Taz and even for Khan to even make that kind of a reference on a mainstream podcast. What does that say?
That somebody shouldn't be smoking somebody's weed.
Yeah, certainly not mine.
Yeah, they're dipping into the spicy cookie jar when they shouldn't be. I think this is what happened was Tony, I think he's getting a little bit too big for his britches. I think he is he's pulling the Eric Bischoff, and I think he needs to have a talk with Eric Bischoff about not overstepping your shit when it comes to running a company. You know, him making this thing, and then Taz, in a way, trying to clear it up. I think this is because Taz is a former employee of Paul and been in that group, I think he was trying to clear it up as best as possible. So, honestly, I think this is what Taz was trying to do. And I think, in a sense, what Tony was trying to say is he's in that same passion. He's got the same passion for the business. He's not a genius because, hell, we don't know his wrestling background. This guy could be he could be a fan like just most of the people out there. So just because you work with a bunch of people, and Zoe can probably agree or disagree, just because you work with a bunch of workers doesn't mean you're already the greatest mind in professional wrestling. It takes years. It takes decades before you can learn the business in a proper way that you can run shows. He got an easy hand. This is almost, I'm afraid, this is almost like Dixie Carter. Like, here's a program, run it. So luckily he does have people in the back that know what they're fucking doing, but I think somebody needs to gear this guy down and keep him off the mic a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoe, your thoughts?
Honestly, everything Joe just said, I can't think of anything else I could add to that. He hit the nail on the head.
All right, fair enough. Lance, do you have any comments you would like to add to this?
Well, if he thinks he's like Paul Heyman, Tony, buddy, maybe try to compare yourself to somebody whose company didn't go fucking bankrupt.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, that would...
As much as I love ECW, he went fucking bankrupt.
Very true. And, you know,
Rick?
ECW lasted long, so what, they lost like 5 years before actually going on TV.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll say like maybe 7 years, of course. You know, once they went on TV, Vince was already helping them out, knowing that he's going to buy the product.
Yep. Real quick, Rick, over in the chat on YouTube, Terry says, for Kenny Omega, 4 or 5 injuries he had once. That's a lot of time to get over. And yes, his promo discussed that he was still injured recovering. So that was for Kenny Omega. Then he said the return of Captain Insano will be a big thing too.
Oh, Lord.
All right. We're going to move along. And so there are rumors that there is dissension in the AEW locker room. This, of course, going back. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. This is a rumor that's been kind of going on here and there. Apparently now they're adding on to the fact of CM Punk, again calling out Hangman last week, which we briefly talked about. And again, Page didn't come out, but he was fuming in the back, and Punk added more fuel to the fire, of course, saying coward shit. So, after several reports are saying that that people are so frustrated with Punk that he's considering leaving the company. On top of that, Khan also has been known to do outbursts in the back, freaking out, whether it be on the Gorilla station or just ranting back and forth, is not helping the situation. Earlier today...
Oh my God, he went from Dixie Carter to Eric Bischoff to Herb Abrams.
No. He has not done cocaine with hookers and a cowboy boots yet.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll give it that to you.
key word being yet. But earlier today, Punk did address some of these topics. He did admit that he went off script, and he said the reason he went off script, he goes, that's what I'm supposed to do. He goes, I'm supposed to capture fans, and I capture their attention and put more asses in seats and sell more tickets. So if people can't accept that, that's their problem, not mine. But when it came to the other friction in the back, the rumors about the friction in the back, he didn't really say anything. He goes, he pretty much just brushed it off, saying, well, that's Dave Meltzer talking. Lance, since you love Dave Meltzer so much, what are your thoughts about this?
Consider the source and hang on. My allergies are acting up.
Okay, then Joe. Oh, okay. The bullshit allergies.
God bless you, sir. Somebody cure him by hitting him with a guitar. Where's the honky-tonk man with you?
Mine, hell no.
Oh, okay, fine.
I don't spend too much money on these damn things.
Joe,
yes.
All right, your thoughts. Is CM Punk covering up, or is he pretty much just telling it how it is when it comes to Dave Meltzer?
Well, I think he's telling it as like Dave Meltzer. You got to remember one thing too in professional wrestling, especially if you're like in AEW or WWE, you just can't go out there and just start dropping bombs. You just can't. Everything has to be pre-approved, because one thing said wrong and you're off the air. So you have to make sure everything is clear. As you saw with Jungle Boy when he started wearing that T-shirt about the pussycat. Well, and I'm saying it nice. Yeah. You should not, you cannot do or say certain things on television, and regardless of what Attitude Era, non-PG, whatever, you still got to go through networks. So when it comes to certain stuff, when he made that references to Cowboys, coward or coward shit, it's he has to get.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it's Cowboy Coward is what he said.
Yeah, or coward shit or whatever.
I thought it was coward shit.
I think it's coward shit. But
okay. Anyway.
Coward.
Pablo Poop. I don't know. But anyway, you cannot just go and, hey, this dude is fucking saying shit about me, and there will be a fight backstage. He has to clear it. He has to do this before he can do anything that's going to flip out. We can look back in history and you could see where Bret Hart was doing stuff and Vince had to cut his mic. The same thing with the pipe bomb. The same thing with this and that. You just can't say certain things without it being approved. Even sometimes the promoter could say, you know what, go ahead, see if you can slip by it. You still got to get everybody involved so nobody can get. Let's put it like this. CM Punk, it's not like he's going to go back to WWE. This is his last gig in professional wrestling.
He might go to New Japan. Maybe.
No.
I think they're too rough for him.
Before he goes to WWE again.
No, he'll retire.
Yeah, there's no way CM Punk can handle the real strong style of Japan. So that's not a big thing. And imagine the first minute he complains, they're really gonna whip the shit out of him. So yeah. So what's gonna happen here is, I think this is just all planned. I think they're trying to build up the tension and all that, because they haven't done anything with Hangman Page for some time. And let's face it, I know there's folks that like him, but his title reign was crap. He didn't get over. He didn't do anything that enticed anybody. Yeah. All he did was ride around in a horse, drink beer backstage, and be a cowboy version of Stone Cold Steve Austin without the cursing. So it wasn't, when you put the belt on Punk, all eyes zeroed in. Not saying that CM Punk is that over. It's just that he is over when it compares to Hangman Adam Page. Now with Moxley, here's a guy who's another guy who is, I'm sorry, Zoe, but if you look at his title reign, he's as interesting as Roman Reigns. Is bland. He could do the posturing. He could say the little shit. He's not as good as he was when he was doing the Ambrose Asylum. So me personally, Rick, I think they're just trying to grasp for whatever they can boost the ratings because again, WWE is starting to make that big turn.
All right, fair enough. Zoe, your thoughts on
Well, we're supposed to expect CM Punk to drop pipe bombs. We already know that. But here's the thing. Whenever it comes to the industry and being on TV, being in front of the public, whenever the mic is in your hand, you are not only putting your job on the line, you're putting your company on the line because you're representing your company. And that also has to deal with you're putting other people's jobs on the line too. You get taken off of the air and Lord forbid permanently. That's a lot of people's jobs at stake. You can't just go out there and do what you want and say what you want. It's like any other job. There's rules behind it. You can't always go off script. You can't call somebody out without them knowing about it. Because it's going to create tension in the locker room. It's going to create fights. It's going to create arguments. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. You just have to watch yourself whenever you have that microphone in your hand.
All right, fair enough. Lance, let me ask you this, okay? Despite that, do you really think that was scripted, or you think that was I won't say a pipe bomb because there's really nothing really pipe bombish about it, but would you say that was just Punk going off script? Do you think that was the plan all along?
Honestly, it could go 50-50 either way. We'll know more tonight. If Hangman comes down with MJF, total script or a total setup. If not, work. Or if not, shoot.
All right, fair enough. Moving along, AEW has a new stable, and it's pretty much like a jobber stable at this point. It's Ari Daivari, Slim J, who I'd never heard of, Sonny Kiss, Parker Boudreaux, and newly signed VSK, which Tony Schiavone referred to him as Jeeves K. I guess he's like a butler, so he's going to be like a manager. Again, very little is known. So they're called the Trustbusters, and they've mostly worked on Dark and Rampage. As far as VSK, I've never heard of this guy. I had to go Google him, couldn't find him. I the few fandom pages where it's just he worked on the indies, but nothing outstanding. Joe, your thoughts on this new stable?
I feel so bad for Parker Boudreaux, the long lost brother of Billy Boudreaux. But I look at this guy. He's the next Brock Lesnar. He's got the look. He's got the chiseled. He's got the look of an old school wrestler. If he tightens up his body, gets more muscular because he really let it go a bit. Sticking with a bunch of look at everybody involved in this. You got a kid who's hat sideways, like he's trying to be a 40-year-old rapper who fails. Sonny Kiss, who's a hell of a worker, even though he has the feministic character, which for me, I didn't mind it. I think it sells. I think he's great. He's, he should be with freaking Jade Seguel and her
Yeah.
group.
Yeah.
That would have worked.
There.
That would have worked, I think. I have to agree with you on that one.
He should have been in that group because Sonny has been so far pushed out of the picture. I like him. I think he's a great worker. I've seen some of his regular indie work. Feministic, character aside, what a worker. And he's with his, rejects. So I don't know everybody else, Daivari, unless he's preaching to the camel or wearing any Islamic gear or anything, you're not going to do anything with the guy because it's just garbage. There's really nothing about him. But if you look at that picture, you got an idiot with his hat sideways, you know, probably this is probably his best that he's going to ever come up with. Okay. This is the only thing he's going to ever do. So I'm assuming that that's, what you can do with this crap. Parker Boudreaux, again, great worker. Should have been in a better stable. Sonny Kiss should have been a way better stable.
Actually, Joe, I got to cut you off when it comes to Parker Boudreaux. Have you actually seen him wrestle yet on Dark or Rampage yet?
Yes, he's green. He has the potential if they push him in the right way.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to come off like he's some badass. And I mean, he looks like just some indie wrestler who's, I mean, he has the weight capacity, but I'm not sure if I even see any muscle capacity, though.
Yeah, he doesn't have the muscle like he had when he was in NXT. He's lost a lot of that. So I think what we're looking at is the guy has to really rebuild his entire, he's going to have to rebuild his entire body again and have to really get in there.
He never had that body. Oh, go ahead.
Over in YouTube, Terry 3D says, Slim J reminds me of Spike Dudley from a few matches he's seen him on AEW. Boudreaux still looks green. He's very green. But I think they can message him out more if he needs to build his upper body. He does need to build that upper body. So, again, take Sonny Kiss out. He doesn't fit this ragtag group. Doesn't make sense why he's in there. Put him with Jade Shagil and just take Parker Boudreaux someplace else. So
yeah.
He says Trustbusters more looks like a group from Mythbusters. If you guys remember that.
No shit. Zoe, over to you. What's your thought about this new stable?
His stable makes me giggle. I don't know why. I think it's just I feel embarrassed for this stable, to tell you the truth. They had to put this together out of pity for these guys. I mean, such an amazing worker. Could definitely hang with Jay Cargill. Could definitely be a baddie. Parker Boudreaux, whatever his last name is. Yeah, that guy. He definitely needs some more training. He needs to take his training seriously whenever he does it. This other dude walk around with the sideways cat.
Slim J, yeah.
40-year-old virgin out of the 90s or something. I just, this group does not mesh to me. I don't get the point of this group. Somebody please tell me what the point of it is.
The only thing I can think of is they're trying to bring all these other wrestlers, Tavares, Slim J, and Sonny Kiss that nobody really watches. They're all over on Dark. And said, you know what, we need to make Parker Boudreaux look like a big superstar, which he's not. So we're going to make all these guys over there, bring over with him, and we're going to have VSK, who's nobody's heard of, and he's going to be the manager of this stable.
See, this makes me giggle because I just don't understand it.
Yeah. Lance, help me out here.
For some reason, my brain keeps going, AEW's Job Squad. AEW's Job Squad.
You know what? That would have been a better name for him. The Job Squad. I would at least have respected it. I'm like, all right.
You want Al Snow to really come in and beat somebody
else.
What
beats this shit?
I can only say I hope this thing goes better. If not, Tony Khan will wake up and say, you know what? Why did I sign some of these people? I mean, right now, with all the amount of people and wrestlers they have, it's almost impossible to get all of them on Rampage and or Dynamite. And I'm sorry, I like the concept of Dark and Elevation, but they shouldn't have wrestlers working exclusively over there because it doesn't help them. Because how many people really watch Dark? How many really people watch Elevation? Unless if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, you're not going to watch these extra shows. I don't watch YouTube shows. I very rarely do.
But you know what? I would suggest to every now and then look, because there are some great young talent. In fact, I can't really mention much, but I'm opening a wrestling promotion again next year. And some of the people we have there are from AEW Dark. And these guys and girls are really great workers that are getting their shot at this. So, in a way, it's you could see the fresh young talent coming out. So I say, you know what? Give it a shot. You never know what can happen.
All right, fair enough. You know what? I want to bring up another topic while right here because we're just talked about how there's only a few hours on TV. There was one report or rumors saying that AEW could possibly be adding on another hour. Or it was more of a suggestion. It wasn't really it was like a personal article. And I personally would like to see Rampage go 2 hours, or God forbid, I don't want them to take a page out of WWE's book and have Dynamite be 3 hours. But they definitely need more time on TV. They need at least another hour. I don't know what do you think about that one, Joe?
I would say yes. Give them another 2 hours on that show. Give them 2 hours on that show, and it'll definitely help. Because again, the talent is not, the talent needs all the time they can get, and will probably be a great way for them to be more exposed. Because that's another problem that we're facing, is that you have way too much talent in AEW, where they're not. Some of them are getting frustrated that they're not getting enough time. Abaddon's been a staple of Dark for so long, and yet if you look at her, she's progressed, she's fixed her character, she's actually even lost a lot of weight and fixed herself up. So honestly, I think, it's kind of sad that they don't give some of these people who pretty much proved themselves a chance to go up to it. So they need more time on Rampage. So if these folks can't make it on Dynamite, at least they can make it on Rampage.
All right, and somebody's taking something or whatever. Zoe, over to you and your thoughts about the AEW adding another hour somewhere, either on Rampage or Dynamite.
Yes. I want another hour of AEW. If it was WWE, I'd be saying, God, no, please don't let that happen. But AEW, I love the product. I want more AEW.
Okay, so let me ask you, if you had a choice, would it be for Dynamite or Rampage?
Rampage.
All right, fair enough. Lance, over to you.
Absolutely, Rampage. 2 hours is just enough for Dynamite. It fits perfectly. 3 hours, too fucking much. Hell, Raw, 3 hours is too fucking much. So, Dynamite, 2 hours. Rampage, 2 hours. You know what? Let's go for the three-peat Battle of the Belts, 2 damn hours.
Yeah, I agree with you there, especially when they have the special events and it's only an hour. It's kind of like a foreplay without getting laid.
I can barely get done with my food in one for Battle of the Belts.
That's why you make your food 3 hours before. Say, okay, now I'm ready. I can sit and eat.
Oh yeah.
Over in the chat room on YouTube, we got Reverend Jake Slayer.
Jake the Snake.
Yes, he says AEW should move Rampage to Saturday nights and make it 2 hours because some promotions need to go old school and go back to Saturday Night Wrestling.
At
6:05. Yes, there is, Lance.
All right. I want to move on to our final topic of the night. Johnny Gargano made his return to the WWE this past Monday on Raw. During his return promo, hold on, I skipped over one. My bad. Sorry, guys. Little technical area. As many of you know, Jeff Jarrett was recently released from the WWE as executive producer for house shows. PWI Insider is reporting that WWE re-signed Road Dogg and has taken Jeff Jarrett's former role. Joe, I know how much you love Jeff Jarrett, so I'm going to let you chime in on that one.
Before I go into it, Terry 3D says last night on Dark on YouTube, it was sad that Killing King and Britt Baker had an awesome promo that was TV worthy. Yes, it was. When it comes to Can't Sell a Dime, this guy will do anything. to make some money and just to work. Okay, there's nothing wrong with trying to get some work. Okay, but Jeff Jarrett just did that Ric Flair's last match for now. He's doing this job, which he got kicked out of it. Obviously, the dude cannot. He just not worthy of being in wrestling again. His time has come. His time has passed. Maybe he can open up a little ice cream shop and call, Slapnuts Cafe or something. He has to do something else because obviously, guys, it's not working. And when your former roadie and gimmick, Road Dogg, Jesse James, takes your spot of Brian James, takes your spot in the company that you were offered, I think your time is about over in professional wrestling. So, well, he can always work for Comrade Thompson over at Southwestern Championship Wrestling. Lord knows he'll be better off there and away from everybody.
Well, you can go work for Billy Corgan over at NWA.
Oh, yeah, let's bury that promotion even more.
Well, one can always wonder. And yes, this will be our final topic. Why is I? Oh, sorry, guys.
Before you do that.
Yep.
Nope. Before you do that, Terry 3G asks, quick add-on topic: is Tenille Dashwood going to follow Madison Rayne to AEW now that she's a free agent?
Good question. Considering she didn't do too great this in WWE her first run. She's a looker but not a wrestler in my opinion. Zoe, I know we didn't really get that chance to talk, but what's your thoughts about Road Dogg replacing Jeff Jarrett?
Well, I mean, once again, Road Dogg is being chosen over Jeff Jarrett. Road Dogg, I like him. I like most of the choices that he makes as far as the company goes. Jeff Jarrett I think Jeff Jarrett is more there to be seen. He wants to be seen.
Yeah, but he was only doing live TV shows, house shows. He wasn't even being on TV, and that's the funny thing.
As in a place of power. He wants to be seen as one of the guys that you have to go to get something approved.
Yeah, I think the wrestlers only want to go to him and say, "Listen, could you grab me a glass of water? I forgot to get one." That's probably about the extent of respect that they want from him. Lance,
they should have had hit him with a guitar on his way out. Like, here you go, crash.
Lance, final thoughts.
Well, Jeff, I got to do it. Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody for another job.
Yeah, no shit. All right. This past week on Monday, we saw Johnny Gargano return to the WWE. He started out with his return promo when Theory came down to spoil the moment, only to get a super kick in the face by Gargano. Both Gargano and his wife, Candice LeRae, chose not to sign with the WWE. Gargano's contract ended on December 2021, while Candice LeRae's ended a little bit earlier in 2022. She obviously was going on paternity leave, so she is not. I don't see her re-signing anytime soon. So, Joe, let me ask you this: Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, they're both great, wrestlers. Obviously, Gargano's back. Do you see Candice LeRae coming back maybe a year or so, or a little bit of time after she's raised her kid?
Yeah, I think she should just take the time off, raise the kid until at least 1 or 2, at least give some time to know a parent, and then make the return. Right now, WWE needs to rebuild, and I think having her on the sidelines, taking her time, then come back will be a much better offer than just another person like Becky Lynch abandoning her kid and just coming back to wrestle. I'm not a fan of that. Give yourself time to build up and then come back. So Gargano is great to see him back. I think at this point in time, I think he made a better choice staying in WWE because right now AEW is oversaturated and this could be a big win-win for him. So let's see how it plays out.
All right, Zoe, your thoughts on Gargano coming back?
Good for him coming back. Candace, take it from me. Stay home and be mommy for a little while, because there's a lot of these firsts that you're not going to get back if you miss, like first steps, first tooth coming in, things like that. Stay home, be mom, work out, of course. That way you stay in shape, and just stay home, be a mom for a little while.
Okay, let me ask you, as a mom, how long would you stay out?
Personally, I would say 2 to 3 years. And that's just me because I love being a mom.
Absolutely, I'm sure Candace and even Becky Lynch being a mom, but at the stage where they're at, obviously they're being paid a high salary. So
Right. Well, being paid a high salary, and my husband was also doing it, being paid a high salary. I would say maybe a year, maybe 2 years.
fair enough. All right, Lance, you get the final word.
Well, Johnny Gargano coming back, he's going to get a better run this time because he's going to be booked by somebody that knows how to book him and not, well, the trash booking that just got thrown out the door.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I don't think did Johnny Gargano even get called up, or was he in NXT before released?
He got called up and then he went back down.
Oh, okay, so he didn't last long.
Because he had that run with Tommaso Ciampa as a tag team for a little while, and then everybody went back down.
Okay. All right. So like I said, that's how much I've been watching WWE. I try to watch some of it, and since Triple H's reign's it's been better, and it's improving. So I wouldn't say I would leave AEW to watch all WWE just yet, but stranger things have happened. Well, we're going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to thank Terry G and, of course, the Reverend Jake Slayer, as he once called, who hang out in the chat room. We are here every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So, Joe, you're over at Skulldon Realms. Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, definitely everybody come over. Just do the hashtag Skulldon's Realm. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And I do game streams. I do from retro to current, from consoles to PCs. Definitely check me out. I am, by request, I am going to do the original Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation 1. So everybody's been asking me for it. That's what they voted for, so I'm going to be doing that. I got something big coming next year. Wrestling promotions coming back. And my God, I got some great staff who literally dragged me. Rick, they dragged me out from under the bed kicking and screaming. And this time around, everybody's actually helping out, and great bunch of people. So we got some. As soon as I get the championship belts here, I will show you guys it. And always, like always, HWR will be represented on those shows.
And we thank you as always, Joe. And Zoe, you have actually back in work now. What do you got going on?
I have got a show. It is in Keavy, which is also in Corbin, Kentucky. It is traditional Southern wrestling. Come out and check me and Dark Suede out. It'll be September the 3rd at the Keavy baseball field. A lot of talented people at TSW. They shout drug free to keep kids off of drugs and in school.
Well, I'm not going already. Jesus.
Wonderful promoter. It's like a big family, and I promise you will get your money's worth, and you're going to get entertained.
All right. Well, we got to get everybody over there. And Lance, you're over at Lance Moss TV. What do you have shaking?
Well, every Tuesday night, we go live on Lance Moss TV and friends. We never know who's going to show up, but me and Zoe and whoever else shoot the shit for roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours. And the guitar builds are coming back. It's just shit's got to work for us.
Yeah, it was hot. You guys had a couple of nasty heat waves down there for a couple of weeks.
Then we just fixed the air compressor.
Oh, well, that's always an issue, too. So, we're going to thank you all for listening. You're going to check us out in the Facebook chat room, and that's HWR chat room. So, for the Hardcore crew, I'm your Hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see ya when we see ya.
Buy the shirt.
Buy the shirt, indeed.
And we're clear.
Awesome.
Great show, guys.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
Hey, Lance, I got a question for you.